Okay, you should be able to hear me better now. I have my mic turned on. Good morning. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming. This is brutal lighting, but I wanted to be in my office space today. I just felt like I needed more of a hugged space. Usually I'm upstairs in my living room, but it's more of an open space. I felt like I needed to be a little bit more hugged by the space. So good morning. You can also make comments in the chat if you wish. How's everybody doing this morning? I know that I put out a poll to see what sort of yoga flow we were going to do today. And most of the feedback, well, all of the feedback actually was 100% of learning how to be with yourself during emotional times. So we can all just give ourselves permission, myself included, to have the awareness that we are probably experiencing some emotional times if that's what we are needing. And that is perfectly fine. It's going to be part of our practice today. I do like to start with a little bit of a sort of therapeutic approach, and then we go into the flow. I'm just going to take a moment to just take a breath. Also going to bring some Reiki in just as we wait for a couple more people to join. So wherever you are, wherever you're finding yourself, you can just take a moment to find yourself seated, or if you want to grab a journal or something with you. I'm going to describe sort of like a 4-step practice that you can do to be with yourself during emotional times. And then we're going to go through a little bit of it today, because it is sort of a practice that you're going to be going in with yourself, that it might be something that you want to do more so, where you can actually let the purging happen. Here we might do a little bit of it just to kind of get you connected to yourself, get you kind of aware of what it is that is wanting your attention. And then when you have some time and space to actually like go into the purge, you can do that. So I always like to premise that like the way that I work and the way that I do my healing work is very much around healing. I don't do a lot of coping focused stuff. I don't do a lot of that kind of stuff. Everything is very healing. I like to get to the root cause. I like to release. I like to clear. I like to get to the resolution of a thing so that we're all the way at the end, so that experience that we're having can dissolve. I'm not a proponent for coping unless it is something that is sort of supporting your healing. You know, sometimes things are overwhelming and we might need to do it in bits, or we might need to have some coping strategies and methods along the way. But I really am a proponent of sustainable healing. And honestly, like, I do think it has to do with the fact that I myself am just someone who has never known how to cover something and like keep going as if everything's okay. It's my body just always, like, I can never ignore how I'm feeling. It's kind of what I'm trying to say. So I kind of had to learn how to actually heal, because I couldn't just cover it and go. It just wasn't ever accessible to me. I used to be like, why can't I just do that? Why can't I just, be like, okay, like we're just gonna, and like go out and just like be okay. But I just never knew how to do that. So I had to learn how to sustainably heal myself so that I could like authentically be okay and not like just kind of convince myself I was okay, if that makes sense. So this is why I practice what I practice. I feel like it's probably just part of, my purpose here is that I have to support sustainable healing, I suppose, because I've never understood why I can't just, cover it up. Oh no, it is saying my connection is unstable, but saying it all works out. So a little bit of practice, but I'm going to explain a little bit. So I have about 6 steps kind of in here, if you want to take notes, but they are going to be steps that you can pretty much just do with yourself. But again, the premise is to like heal for real, because we're actually wanting to okay, how can I say this? I sort of sat with myself before and I was like, let me just like be super authentic with this, because I do think that when we're working in areas of the unconscious, because it is so unconscious, it might not be obvious to us, for example. So when we are using coping strategies, we are actually covering up very important information about our truth, very important information about who we actually are and what we actually want. When we are using coping strategies, we are not able to get to our truth, which is a big part of what we're going to be doing today, is how to get to your truth. And so if we are using coping strategies and we are not accessing our truth, we are usually then doing things or wanting things in life that are coming from um, aspects that are not actually ourselves. And so, let's say, for example, I'm trying to think of some examples. I have some examples coming up, but let's say that we were taught that our external image was like where our value was. It was like the most important thing, and like it's where our value was. And so we're spending a lot of time trying to like externally look good, and like let's say, you know, we gain weight here, we whatever, and then we start getting really mad at ourselves because like we're taught external image is like what we're wanting. And so but then if we go into ourselves and we're like, wait, that's not actually what's important to me. What's important to me is more like how I feel inside, etc. But if we don't actually do the healing to get to our truth, to live from our truth, and we're just coping with like the insecurities or the discomfort, we're just kind of covering them up and continuing to focus on like external images, what's important, then we end up doing and being versions of ourselves that are attached to things we don't actually want, and they're not actually who we are. So yes, we can cope, but we're going to live lives that are not actually what we're wanting and not actually connected to who we are. And this is a problem because then these patterns will just repeat themselves. You know, we'll continue to struggle with like our internal image or whatever the belief is that we're holding on to that's not ours. We'll continue to value things that we don't actually value. We'll continue to want things that we don't actually want, all because we're living from a belief system or from learnings or thoughts that are not actually our own. And so when we come back to our truth, then we can live from our authentic self. And this way, we then aren't dealing with those things anymore. We're like actually done with the insecurities. We're actually done with those things because we have actually resolved them and returned to our truth. Um, hope that makes sense. I'm wondering how I can make that a little bit more clear. But essentially, it is if we are just coping, we're not listening to the information that our body is trying to tell us that is getting us to come back to ourselves. And we continue to make decisions that are actually aligned with things outside of ourselves, which then continues to cause us those same discomforts or insecurities that we're trying to cope with. And then we try to cope with them some more so we can continue to make decisions based on things that are not aligned with us. And it keeps triggering that, as opposed to if we are like, okay, this discomfort is here. Let me come back to myself. Let me go in. Oh, my truth is actually this. Oh, my desires are actually this. And then I can live authentically. And I actually don't have to experience any of those insecurities or doubts anymore because I'm aligned with me and not aligned with something that is not me. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay, so the key to that is to come back to yourself. The key to probably all of this is to come back to yourself. My practice right now is called Follow Your Alignment. But I originally started with self-centered because I was really on a journey of coming back to myself. And then when I sort of got there or found more of myself, then my life and the things that were in my life, I guess, because they were aligned with a version of me that was no longer who I was, started to fall away. And so with this, I had to then start to follow my truth because the vision that I had was no longer there. And I didn't quite know because I was sort of like rebuilding based on who I actually am. And so I like left my career and my marriage ended. And so I had come back to myself. The things that were no longer aligned with me fell away. And then I was sort of left to follow myself that I had come back to as now the guide to create a life that actually was aligned or is aligned with who I authentically am, which is what led me to yoga in the first place. Yoga was never something I ever would have thought of in my mind, but it was something that I was led to through following my authenticity. So that's what we want to do. We want to come back to ourselves. We want to be honest with ourselves. We want to connect with ourselves. So the number one thing, okay, let me kind of tie this into emotions when we're dealing with emotional times. When we are dealing with an emotional time, the thing about that time is it is probably one of the biggest moments of come back to yourself. When our emotions are present, when our discomfort is present, when our insecurities are anything that doesn't feel good, when anything that doesn't feel good is present, it's calling you to come back to yourself. It's literally saying, it's like if you picture a kid, a kid that's sad or upset or whatever, like that kid wants someone to tend to it. When we have that same experience, our inner world, our inner selves are saying, tend to me, like come back to me. When we are in one of the most elevated of emotional times, it's like we really need to come back to ourselves. Like when we're kind of like sit down, rest, like we really need to come back to ourselves. And if we know that, then we'll do that. But if we're continuing to prioritize external things, oh no, people are going to judge me as lazy, or I have to get to work, or all those things, then we're going to ignore ourselves and try to cope with it, quiet that down, drink coffee, whatever, and then continue to kind of live this externally prioritized life. When then our system's going to say, get even louder, come back, come back, come back. It's going to keep doing that until we come back to ourselves. So when we're in emotional times, a lot of that is tend to yourself. Okay. So this is the steps that we're going to take to this. So step number one, I had this a session the other day that we kind of had a funny thing that came up, but step number one is to be honest with yourself. When we are in discomfort, when we are upset, when we are hurt, we don't want to feel it. We don't want to feel like we can let someone hurt us. There's so many things that we want to do to like not acknowledge the fact that we've been hurt, especially if we've been repeatedly hurt and we're like tired of being hurt. What we will do is we will kind of be like, ugh, like I don't even care about that. That doesn't bother me. Or like, we will lie to ourselves. We will trick ourselves. We will avoid ourselves. And I was talking to a client the other day and I said to her, when you trick yourself, you get tricked. And that is exactly what happens when we are not honest with ourselves. When we trick ourselves, we get tricked. Bottom line. If we're lying to ourselves, we are not acknowledging our own truth. So we are going to end up in a scenario that is aligned with something that is out of alignment because we are actually not aligning with ourselves. And so I completely understand why we, avoid ourselves, why we do that, because it's uncomfortable. We are sick of being hurt. We don't want to keep, feeling this way. But when we do that, when we come away from ourselves and go back into this cycle, this pattern, it's actually tricking us. It's actually harming us. So it's like, we actually want to be honest with ourselves and say, okay, I am very hurt right now. And this is actually a process that we want to move through because we want to continue to be honest. I'm very hurt. We actually want to I don't want to move into part two yet, but we want to let that part of ourselves continue to express itself. Okay. Because if we notice, this is what we usually do. We notice we're uncomfortable and we back away from it. We notice that there's emotion, sadness, hurt, fear, guilt, whatever it is that we don't want to feel, and we back away from it. This right here is actually what we want to move towards. We want to move toward that emotion, and we actually want to move all the way through it to the other side. That's actually what we're looking for. But we'll be hurt and we'll back away. We'll be afraid and we'll back away. We'll be uncomfortable and we'll back away. And we're actually backing away from the access to our own truth. That information that's there, we want to move through it so we can get to the other side. If we stay over here, we continue to live an externally sort of validated and externally led life based on things that are on this side of our truth. So limiting beliefs, lies, unprocessed emotions, fears, doubts. We end up staying other people's opinions. We end up staying in that realm instead of moving through the emotion that we're backing away from and coming into our truth, into our actual authentic self. So number one, be honest with yourself. I cannot emphasize this enough. You cannot lie to yourself and you cannot run from yourself. Like, just be honest with yourself. How are you actually feeling? What are you actually doing? And then sort of number two, we can kind of move into that. Um, because hold on, let me say this again. I think it's so important because when we focus on avoiding feelings instead of getting through it, we repeat patterns and get stuck in emotions, thoughts, and situations that are preventing us from getting what we actually want. So when our main premise is just to avoid a feeling and not actually get into the direction of what we want, because in the direction of what we want, we actually have to go through that feeling. In the direction of what we don't want is avoiding that feeling. And then we honestly just continue to repeat whatever is on this side. It just gets repeated. So we actually want to be honest with ourselves, how I'm really feeling, what's really coming up for me, in a way that we are holding space for it, as if we're listening to somebody else telling us. Because when it's ourselves, we're kind of like judging ourselves and we're mad at ourselves, and we can even let some of that come up too. But we want to do all of that as an observer. We want to do all of that as someone who's holding space for our own selves, holding space with compassion, holding space with love and curiosity. We want to let ourselves express as if we are holding space for ourselves. And so this is kind of into step two. Move all the way through, all the way through, by allowing that yourself to speak, to express. And sometimes we might get stuck in what we're in it, but we can tell there's some stuckness there. And then we want to breathe. We want to create movement in another way. We want to encourage ourselves to continue moving all the way through a thing. We do not want to stop because we get uncomfortable or we don't want to go back. And, because often, especially when we're in a really deeply emotional place, even if we're not, even if it's just something that, seems like it's minuscule, but when we're often, what we need to do is break down to break through, especially if it's something that we've been dealing with a lot of, especially if it's something that feels like it hurts so much. We actually need to allow ourselves to go all the way through to the breakdown so that we can break through. If we do not, let me see what I have said here, but if we avoid the breakdown, then we miss the breakthrough. And if we are kind of just always trying to keep ourselves above like this, like above the feeling, above the feeling, above the feeling, then we end up staying in the realm of whatever is already here. We end up staying in the realm of whatever is already here. Okay. We just repeat the same things that are already existing. We have to go down deeper to find new stuff, new experiences, new information, new parts of ourselves, all of that kind of stuff. If we keep avoiding to stay outside of the feeling, we don't like the feeling, we're so tired of feeling this way, then we stay up here. Or sometimes we get stuck in the feeling. We're like, now we're just like, we went into it and now we're just like, we're just like stuck in it. We're just like, I'm sad and I'm this and I'm just kind of stuck here. We want to continue. All we've done is we've stopped moving through. We want to continue to speak to that. I'm sad because, like, we want to continue to move that all the way through. Continue to be honest with yourself about how you're feeling and what's coming up for you. The way I have it here is continue until you feel empty, and then you begin hearing your truth come through. The whole point of this is that we want to get to our truth, because otherwise we're living in lies, we're living in limiting beliefs, we're living in doubts, we're living in our mind. Because usually if we're not entering into our truth, entering into our body, we're in our head. And in our head is where our limiting beliefs are, our unprocessed emotions, our traumas, our fears, our doubts, all of that, other people's opinions, what other people have said to us, all of that is in our head. So the point of this all is to get to your truth. The reason we move all the way through is to get out of the lies and get connected to the truth of who we are. This is where we want to be. This is a very powerful place to be. A powerful experience of yourself is to be in your own truth. It's like nothing can touch you there. When you know who you are at your core, when you can feel it and connect to it, people can say whatever they want to say about you, which is, sometimes an impact that is happening is that people are having opinions or giving their thoughts about you and what you're doing, and there's judgment and all this. And it's like causing you confusion and doubt because you aren't accessing your own truth. You don't know your own truth. And so when someone else says something about you, oh, it's because you're so selfish, or, they have opinions about what you're saying or what you're doing. And you're like, oh no, is it because of, am I that? Like, all of that comes from your disconnection to your own truth. If you know yourself and you're in your truth and someone has an opinion of you and you're like, no, I know who I am, like I know my truth. That honestly is a game changing place to be. We have to move through to get there. Okay. And this is what I mean by sustainable. We can convince ourselves and work ourselves up in the mirror and like do our affirmations all we want. But if we are not landed in our truth, then that's something that we're going to have to do every single day, all the time. But it's like, if you're in your truth, then you're in your knowing. And those things are things that you just know about yourself because it's how you experience yourself all the time, every day. But it does require you to go there. And then when I'm saying get into your truth, I'll let you know how you know you're there. The reason we move all the way through it is to get at the lies and connect to the truth. Once you've found your truth, okay, usually as you're talking, you'll be like, I'm so frustrated. I'm so mad. I fucking hate this. I hate everyone. Like, you might just be saying whatever you're saying. And then you'll get to a point where that flips and you're like, I deserve so much better. I deserve so much more. You might hear yourself start to say things like, I am, I want, I deserve. And now you have come to your truth. Okay, you've come to your truth, and as soon as you start to hear that conversation kind of flip from I'm so angry, I'm so upset, this is so unfair, everything's so unfair, nothing's ever working out for me. As soon as you're letting that all come through without believing it, but just releasing it, and then you're like, okay, I deserve so much better, I deserve so much more. And now you're like, whoa, now I'm in my truth. Okay, and once you start to hear this flip, then you want to be with that. Oh, okay, I found my truth. And we want to be here. You want to stay here. You want to continue to let your truth speak and you want to be in it. I deserve so much more. I am so much more. I am better than this. I'm worthy of love. Whatever your truth starts to tell you, that's where you want to be. Because sometimes we'll hit our truth and then we'll come back out and like ready to prove it, and like we don't spend enough time in it. Our truth is for us to be with, not to go out and prove to somebody else that I deserve this, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of where we lose ourselves, where we get to our truth and then we're like, yeah, I'm going to go prove to them that I'm worthy and I'm all these things. What we actually want to do is be like, oh, I found it. And this is for me to know. This is for me to connect. This is for me to be with. And then now we want to be here. I am this. And as we're in our truth, two things might happen. One thing is that you're going to feel familiar. You're going to feel like you're going to be like, oh, like I found it. Like it's there. You're going to feel really good about it. And you're going to want to stay in it. Okay. You want to spend so much time connected to your truth. Sometimes I'll get my clients to connect to it and stand up and then find it again, walk around the room and then find it again. Like we want to be able to come back to our truth. That's the whole point. It's not, I found it, then I'm going to go prove it. Because now we're out of our truth again. We're back into the lies. We want to be able to come to our truth, know what it feels like, know what it sounds like, and then come back to it and come back to it and come back to it. That is the sustainable, that is the game changer. Another thing that might happen is you might get to your truth and there might be pain. You might be like, I deserve so much more. I'm worthy of love. And there might be some pain around it, some sadness around your own truth. Okay. Then we want to speak to that. Oh, it hurts. It hurts when I think about that I'm deserving, or I'm so tired of feeling this way. Like we want to continue to speak to whatever is showing up. Acknowledge that your truth has some pain like around it, that it has some hurt to it. Acknowledge that. Continue to acknowledge that. Oh, it hurts when I think about being deserving so much more because I've been trying so hard. Like you want to continue to let that express. And then once you've accessed your truth and you feel on one side where you're like, yes, I'm landed, you may feel energy moving through your body. You may feel lighter. You may feel more free. Like this is like, I found my truth and like it's there and like stay with it. If you're in your truth and you're like, I am this, I deserve this, but it hurts still, there's still some pain there that you want to speak to, I feel pain because I feel hurt because like continue to express that. And if you find yourself and you're like, okay, there's still pain here. I'm not quite getting past the pain. Then we're going to move into the next step, which is actually, hold on, there's a little in between here, which you can kind of notice how you're feeling. You might notice some tightness, you might notice some tension, you might notice some like resistance. That's the protection. It's like your truth is still kind of protected, it's still kind of feeling unsafe. And so when you notice that, you're just like, okay, what do I need? That's the next question you're going to ask yourself. What do you need? When you notice that your truth is still being protected, it's still feeling painful, it's still feeling hurt, what do I need? Ask yourself what you need, and then you give it to yourself. And as you ask yourself what you need and you meet your own need, this is how you continue to return to your truth, because you're prioritizing what you need and giving it to yourself more than you are prioritizing, I have to prove myself, or I have to show up in this way, or I have to go do this outside thing. You might even in that moment be like, okay, thank you. Like I receive what I need and I'm going to give it to myself, in a moment when I have time. Maybe you have to go take care of your kids or whatever. But you want to ask yourself, what do I need, and give it to yourself. One of the main reasons why we even experience these things is because we as children, we had a need that was unmet. So we had a need for safety or validation or reassurance or love or security or connection or something in a moment where we needed it, and that need was unmet. And now this part sits unresolved because of that unmet need. And most likely it was compounded. So that need continued to go unmet. And so now this part of you continues to experience the unmet need, the hurt, the unloved, the lack of reassurance, lack of feeling seen, lack of feeling validated, whatever. So that is there needing to be met. And so when you ask yourself what you need and you give it to yourself, you begin the resolving of that. You begin the healing of that part. Okay, so this is a really important piece. And as you do that, you get closer to your truth, closer to your truth, closer to your truth. And your truth is, if there's anything more sustainable than truth, I don't know what it is. Truth is truth no matter what. Nothing makes truth not true. Like I always say, the only thing that makes a lie have any power is your belief in it. Otherwise, it is literally illusion. It is literally not a real thing. A lie is not a real thing unless you put your belief into it, then it turns into something of form. Otherwise, it's not real. The only thing that is real is truth. When you get to your truth and you feel into your truth, there is nothing more real than that. There's nothing more tangible. And I know this is very Aquarius of me. I'm such a proponent of truth because it is such a thing that you can always grab onto, because it's always true. It always remains true. When you get to your truth, people can say whatever they want about you. Anyone can do whatever, however they show up, and you are going to be like, no, I know who the fuck I am. And there is nothing more sustainable than truth, and then accessing your truth. So, number one, be honest with yourself about how you're really feeling and hold that space with compassion as you move all the way through it. Speaking, saying what's there. I fucking hate this. I'm so mad. This is so annoying. I deserve better. Boom. Now you're like, oh, I'm in my truth. I deserve better. I want more. Oh my God, I'm in my truth. And then then you want to stay there. I deserve better. I want more. Ooh, feel how that feels inside. You're going to feel how that feels inside, and you're going to feel it open. You're going to feel energy moving, and you're going to stay there. Then you're going to stand up and you're going to go there again. There it is. I found my truth. And you're going to walk around. You're going to go there again. And you're going to let your truth continue to express itself. If you're noticing that there's pain around your truth, then you're going to speak to, oh, I feel so much hurt because I've been trying to do this for so long and no one understands me. You might go a little bit deeper, and then you're going to get to your truth again. Or you might still be in the pain and you have to get to, what do I need? Then you meet yourself and you give yourself what you need, and then you get to access more of your truth, because that pain is just protecting. It's like this truth has been hurt so much that it's being protected. So when you meet that need, then you get to access more of your truth. And this is how we have sustainable healing. This is how we get connected to ourselves. And this is how we then live lives that are in alignment with who we actually are. Okay, so I hope that maybe you took notes on that. I did not expect to talk about that for 30 minutes. We are going to do a 30-minute flow. I would take us through a little practice of that, but I feel like that's pretty straightforward. I would say the number one thing to remember is that when you are expressing your truth, you're literally just saying whatever is coming up to you, whatever is coming up for you. And if you get stuck, breathe, move, breathe, move, and then say whatever else is coming up for you. Know that emoting is part of the process. You're going to have to get mad. You're going to have to get sad. That is part of the releasing. If we are avoiding feeling feelings, we are avoiding our truth, period. It's just not worth it to be like, I don't want to cry. No, it's not worth it to not cry just to not feel the feelings. If you are more focused on avoiding feelings, then you are not focused on finding your truth. And the focus has to be finding my truth is more important than just avoiding crying right now. It's just such a I don't even know the word. Like, it's just not necessary. We all cry. Everyone cries. I've been crying all week, so I had to cry. I had to cry yesterday to make sure I didn't cry today. So we have to be able to honor the fact that there is something that wants to be expressed through us and hold the space for that to happen. Okay. Okay. Hope everyone's getting this. I'm definitely gonna put these maybe on an Instagram post. Actually, to my the post from last week too, just so that we have this breakdown. Because I'm guarantee you, if you keep coming back to this, number one, you're gonna have results. Number two, it's gonna get so much easier. And number three, you're gonna almost feel like invincible. Like you're telling yourself, not only can I access my truth, not only does it feel damn good to access my truth, but I can also handle things. Like I can handle my emotions. I can handle my feelings. I can handle myself. I can handle what's coming up for me. That level of self trust you build in yourself. I'm going to speak to this tomorrow on my podcast on fear, but self trust is one of the biggest antidotes to fear. So when we are wanting to do something new, like for example, I wanted to come on YouTube and go live, the fact that I trust myself that I'm going to come back to my truth helps me to move through things that I'm afraid of. Like, what if I mess up? What if no one understands me? These are like classic thoughts that I've had. But I'm like, I trust myself and I trust my expression that I can show up and do things even if I'm afraid now. And so self trust is a huge antidote to truth. I mean, to fear. And this process of knowing that I'm going to be with myself, that I can be with myself, that I can be with whatever's coming up for me, and I'm going to hold space for myself and meet my needs, build self trust so much, which makes it very easy for us to be confident, to be expressed, to move through things, even if we are afraid. So, this is just everything. This just hits everything. I can trust myself, I can be with myself, I can find my truth, and all of that is very sustainable. Okay. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat. So we are going to go to our flow. We're going to do about 30 minutes and we are going to do some hip openers, some heart openers. Heart openers because honestly, our truth is usually located in our heart space. For me, especially, it is. Some people, it can be more found in their sacral or their solar plexus, different areas of the body, but definitely you want to be able to access your heart 100%. But we want to open all of these spaces so that it can move. Our hips are where we keep our unprocessed emotions. And so we're going to do some hip openers to open that up, do some heart openers to open up our heart. And yeah, so you can get to your mat if you're not there already. We're just going to start in a seated position. I'm so grateful for those that are here this morning live and also the ones who are going to catch the replay. We'll start by taking a breath in. And as soon as we close down the eyes, we tune in. It's like our senses go from 50-50, which is like, our eyes are open, so we're looking out. And like part of us is paying attention inside, part of us is paying attention outside. As soon as we close our eyes, it's like 100% of our attention is heightened on the inner. And even as for me, when I first started meditating and I closed my eyes to go in and I heard something like negative. And I was like, nope, I popped my eyes open right away. And I was like, I'm never doing that again until I realized I have to go deeper. I have to go all the way through. I can't just hear the lie and come away from it. I have to go all the way through into myself. I have to go all the way through to connect to myself and find my actual truth. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale. Honoring yourself for being here this morning, showing up for yourself, and sitting tall. I'm just going to start with a little neck stretch so you can grab the side of your neck and just pull to the side as you reach your opposite hand out. And breathe. Use the breath to help support the stretch. Relaxing further. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, head up. Reaching out the other side, grabbing the opposite side of your neck and just pulling down gently. Breathe. Inhale, relax. Feel that stretch in your neck. 4, 3, 2, 1. Head back up. And then we're just going to do some neck rolls. Forward and back. You can go all the way around if that feels good for you, or you can do halfway in reverse. Very nice. Then inhale your arms up over your head, interlock your fingers, and just stretch up. You can even look up, just opening up that space. Then exhale your hands down onto your knees, and we're just going to do some rotations. Inhale your belly button in, exhale your chest out. Want to get that energy moving, get all of that energy flowing, really inviting our body to just open up, release. Notice any area where you're feeling stiff or you're feeling tight or tense. And then use your breath to breathe it out. I love an audible breath. I get a lot of stickiness between my heart and my throat. That's expressing my truth, has always been my healing. So whenever I am, this area just becomes really bubbly and burpy. Really good. Stop and go around the other way. Inhale, exhale. And just notice your mind. If you're getting judgy of yourself, if you think you look weird, or if you think you feel weird, just notice those things, because so often, without even noticing, we will unconsciously just listen to that and let it stop us. We'll unconsciously be like, I look weird, and then we won't do something. But we have to bring our consciousness to that. Oh, I almost stopped doing something because my mind told me that I looked weird. Like, we actually want to notice and bring consciousness to those experiences as we're doing this sort of intentional practices. And then from here, we're just going to do a little bit of a cat-cow seated. Inhale, chest open. Inhale, stomach in. Exhale, chest open. You can do the practice with your eyes open or closed, whatever feels good for you. These are a lot of sort of Kundalini activations too. We're really bringing in the sacral. Nice. Okay, now we're all warmed up. Now you can find yourself on your mat and just come into child's pose. So big toes touch, knees out to the outside of your mat, and then you're just going to drop your bum down onto your heels and bring your arms forward. And breathe. We're going to do 3 breaths here. See if you can bring your breath all the way into your sacral, all the way down into your pelvis. And exhale. Sinking deeper on your exhales. Again, breathing in all the way down from the crown, all the way down into your pelvis. Exhale. Challenge yourself to bring an audible breath in. Challenge yourself to take up space with your voice, take up space with your sound. Again, inhale. Exhale. I love to let myself know that I'm always going to show up for my growth and my authenticity, even if my brain's telling me that people think I'm weird. So bring your right arm under. We're just going to thread the needle. Give yourself a shoulder stretch. And breathe here. Your top hand can come forward even more. Really opening up the body, opening up the back, opening up the shoulder. And then switching to the other side. Thread the needle. Feel that twist in your spine. Feel the stretch in your arms. As you're opening up yourself to yourself. As we move to our truth, we are really opening up ourselves to ourselves. So that interaction, that conversation that you have within becomes one that is coming from your truth. And so from here, we're just going to lift up and we're just going to push down into puppy pose. So it's your knees are bent and your arms come forward and your chest pushes down into your mat. This is a beautiful heart opener. Just breathe here, allowing your heart to sink down into your mat. Feeling like you're shining your heart forwards, encouraging it to open. Being excited for that inner conversation that you have to be one that's of love and support between you and yourself. One more deep breath in. Exhale. Opening that heart space more. Let's do one more breath in. Exhale. Really good. Coming up into tabletop. And from here, we can just do a little bit of movement just to get ourselves. If you wanted to do some cat cows, for me, I like to do a little upward dog down to happy baby. Just listen to your body here, whatever you feel like your body needs. Nobody's watching. Just do what you need. And then we're going to bring our right leg up to the front beside our right hand. Slide your back leg out for a bit of a low lunge here. And as you do, you're just going to open up your hip by rolling your foot over on its edge. This is a nice hip opener. You can even take your hand and just push your leg open more if you wish. And if you want, you can even open up your heart. Looking up. Very good. Just holding that hip open, sinking deeper. Then bringing your foot flat to the ground. And then we're just going to open up here. Looking up. If you wish, you can reach back and grab your back leg and open up. Or you can just stay here. A little twist. hand to your mat, bringing that right leg. If you wanted to do a little stretch like this, you can. My hamstrings are tight, tightest part of my body. Then you can bring your leg back around, and then bringing your left your left foot up to meet your left hand, sliding that right leg back, and then just opening up your hip by rolling your foot onto its edge. And the same thing on the left side, just pushing open, looking up, opening your heart, opening your hips. Breathe. You can even make a commitment to open to yourself, a commitment that you're going to come back to your truth, that you're going to find your way back to your truth every time using what we talked about this morning. That you're going to show yourself, bring your legs back into tabletop. And then from here, we're just going to bend our toes and kick back into our downward dog. Pedaling out for our first down dog. Committing to yourself that you are going to follow your emotions, your discomfort, follow the lies back to your truth. That you're going to show yourself that you trust yourself. Pushing your heels down to get that stretch, pushing your arms back. You can even bend your knees if that feels better. 2 breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Let it out. We're going to flow through 3 vinyasas. All of them we're going to really use for heart openers. So lift your heels, bend your knees, come to the top of your mat, walk or hop. Halfway lift, flat back, inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Little back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, hands flat on your shin, flat back, hands to mat, and we're going to go into chaturanga. You kick back into high plank, low plank, upward facing dog, heart open, downward facing dog. We're going to do 2 more of those. Lift your heels, bend your knees, walk or hop to the top of your mat, halfway lift, and fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. High plank to low plank, upward facing dog, heart open, downward facing dog, hips back. 1 more, lift your heels, bend your knees, walk or hop. Halfway lift, and fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, chaturanga. High plank to low, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Very good. If you're still with me, great job. You're doing amazing. Showing up for yourself is always such a beautiful way to tell yourself that you're here, to build trust in yourself. So great. Here we're going to go into 3-legged dog. Lifting your right leg high, opening up your hips. You can rotate your right ankle. And then we're going to flip our dog. Bringing your right foot to the ground, pushing up, extending your right arm. Another heart opener. Breathe. Exhale. Really nice. Coming into your high plank and then moving into a side plank. You can bend your knee here if you want. You can bend both your knees. You can bring your legs down. Whatever feels good for you. Coming back down to your high plank, pushing into your downward dog. Pedal out. Great job. Check in with yourself. How do you feel? Let yourself know you're proud of yourself for being here, for showing up. Lift your left leg high and open the hip. Rotate the left ankle. And when you're ready, let heart open, mouth open. Take a moment to say to yourself, I love you. As you come onto your side plank, very nice. Coming over to your high plank, pushing into down dog. This too much. Kicking your leg high all the way through for warrior one. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, sink low. Breathe. Bring your hands to your mat. Chaturanga. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left leg comes up. Kick it through for warrior one. Right leg is sort of parallel on an angle. As you inhale, rise up. Exhale, sink deeper. These lunges are also beautiful hip openers. These lunge postures. And hands to mat. Chaturanga. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Down. You might find too that during highly emotional times, you feel heavy. Heaviness is always a sign of unprocessed emotion, usually sadness. And if you're in a heavy time, you might not be able to do a flow where there's so much movement. You can do something where you're on the ground more. From here, we're gonna lift our leg high. We're gonna kick it through for crescent lunge. Back leg is straight, right leg is lunged, and you can just come into prayer position at the hands here. You can go low lunge, wherever you're at today, whatever you need. And then revolved. Bringing your left elbow over your right knee. From here, we're going to open up to warrior two. Sink low. Open the hips. Reverse your warrior, flipping your palms over your head. Come back down, warrior two. And then we'll do extended side angle, just reaching forward, opening your palms and bringing your elbow over your right knee. Just resting on your thigh as your left arm comes up. If you want to open up a little bit and breathe. There's also the option to swing your right arm over and extend it forward. Very nice. From here, we're going to open back up to warrior two. Cartwheel your hands to your mat. Chaturanga. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And with yoga, we're usually looking to balance. So we're going to do everything on both sides. So you can usually expect the same sequence on the other side. Lifting your left leg through for crescent lunge. You can rise all the way up or just bring your hands to heart. Breathe. And twist your right arm over your left leg, keeping your chest high. Opening up to warrior two. Reverse your warrior. Back to warrior two. Extended side angle. You can even go into triangle if you wish. Just straightening out that front leg. Bring your hand to your ankle. Swinging that right top arm forward. Open up the heart, open up the chest. Very good. And then from here, I want us to step forward into chair pose. We're going to sink low into our chair. Bring your hands to heart. Bring your right leg over into a figure four. You can bring your hands down to your mat if you'd wish. Or you can stay up. Fold forward. Bringing that foot down. Back up into chair. Figure four on the other side. Find your balance, find your focus. And you can fold forward. Bringing that leg down and coming back up into your chair. Very nice. Sink a little bit deeper. Fold. Halfway lift. And chaturanga. High plank to low. Upward facing dog. Downward. Pedal out. As we kick our right leg high and bring it through for pigeon. So you're going to bring your leg, your ankle to your left hand and your knee to your right as you extend your back leg. This is one of the most sort of powerful and known hip openers in yoga. You can stay in proud pigeon, or you can come all the way down and relax. We'll be here for several breaths, so find whatever's comfortable for you. Notice yourself, notice your mind, notice your body. Acknowledge what's coming up for you. I see you. I feel you. Feel the stretch in your legs, the stretch in your glute. Be here for 3 more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale. Deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Push up into proud pigeon. As we push back into our down dog, bringing your leg back. Lifting that left leg high and kicking it forward. Again, you can stay in proud pigeon or you can lower down. Hip, notice the stretch in your leg extended. Breathe into the pelvis, into the hips. Exhale. Inhale all the way. And exhale everything out, pushing your belly button into your spine. Inhale. Exhale all the way. Inhale. Coming back to your normal breathing as you bring your leg back and kick out. From here, we're just gonna come down to our knees. Not sure how much time's left. We'll probably do 2 more poses, but I cannot. It looks like we're above an hour. Come up onto your knees, and we're gonna do camel. So how pigeon is probably one of the best known hip openers, camel is one of the best known heart openers. So you can put your hands on your back as you're on your knees. Just find yourself here. You could either tuck your toes or leave them flat. I like to tuck my toes. Then slowly begin to arch back. And as you do, you can find your heels and then push forward. Bringing your hands to your back and slowly coming back up. Giving yourself a little cat-cow as you cross your legs and gently come onto your back. Bringing the soles of your feet together for cobbler's pose. So you can put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. And just notice that your truth is in here. It's in you. It's in your heart. It's in your sacral. It's behind all the lies. It's behind all the fear, all the doubt, all the insecurity, all the unprocessed emotion, all the hurt, all the pain. Your truth is there waiting for you, calling you towards it. And as you move towards it, you'll become more courageous, more strong, more free, more aware, more present, more loving, more compassionate, more you. more confident, more sure, more powerful. Breathe in. Exhale. Allow yourself to relax fully onto your mat. And then just begin to bring a little movement to your legs for butterfly. Do butterfly seated or laying down. Again, another beautiful hip opener, releasing those stored emotions from the hips. You can bring your breath in if you wish. Usually areas of tightness, of tension. We bring our breath to those areas as we speak from them. They begin to release, they begin to open. Exhale, relax your hips, bringing your legs out straight. Bringing your right leg up as you and pull with your left hand over for supine twist. Opposite arm comes out and looking over your opposite shoulder. Coming back to center, doing the same on the other side. Feeling the crack in your back. And then we're just going to bring our legs up for happy baby. You can rock side to side. Apply some pressure to your feet as you push down, opening the hips up even more. And then bringing your legs down, coming into your Shavasana. Just being with yourself here for a moment, honoring yourself and the time you've given yourself this morning. Committing to come back to your truth, to move through, to experience the breakthrough, to come onto the other side of what's waiting for you, everything that's aligned with the truth of who you actually are, coming out of your head and into your body, into your heart, into your soul. Feeling the energy moving through your body. Just saying for yourself inside, what's true for me, what's in my heart. What's true for me is what's in my heart. What's true for me is what's in my heart. Taking a deep breath in, and we're going to come into a full body stretch. Arms overhead, feet stretched. You can roll over to your right side and push yourself up. And if you are still here, I feel like I see some people. We're going to come into one Om together. An Om is a thing that I was so shy to do before. And it's like, for me, when I see myself restricting myself or holding myself back, I know that I'm at an opportunity to grow, to be more of myself. And so whenever I notice, oh, I'm holding myself back, I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this thing. So then I started to Om, and now I always make sure I end a class with one Om together, taking a deep breath in, exhale, another breath in. Hands to prayer. Bow. Hands to third eye. I see you. I feel you. I am you. We are one. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here, for spending the morning with me. This all started from me kind of going into my dream day and being like, how do I want my dream day to look, and kind of plugging things into my week. And now I absolutely so look forward to my Thursday morning flows, my Friday podcast, my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings with my daughter. Like, it's really cool when you listen to yourself and then you start to be intentional about putting those little pieces together to see what unfolds. Now I'm like, oh, I have a YouTube channel and I have a podcast. Like, all of that just came from like plugging little things in that my heart wanted to do. So I encourage you so much to come back to your truth, come back to yourself, and start to give yourself what you need and listen to your truth and really land in it, be in it, get used to it, resonate with it, feel into it, and listen to what it says, what it feels, what it does, what it wants, and bring those pieces into your life and see your life change and see you change into the best version possible. Enjoy your day.